Hey guys, I'm back with another video. It's been a while. Been doing a bunch of traveling and working and racing and riding and just not making videos about the races. So I'm going to skip over some of them that we did in May. Last time we talked, it was in Cedar Hill in Nashville, and we went just north to the Clarksville High Roller Crit, where first place was $1,000. We came close. We came in second. Johnny Purvis got in a break with Johnny Brown, Nate Brown's younger brother from Neon Action. I forget the whole team, Axel Merckx' squad, and Frank Travieso. A lot of people know Frank from USA Crits, and somebody else. And Johnny just missed it, but it was a great card to play, and second was a really good result at that race. Really good quality for being in Clarksville, Tennessee. It was awesome to see so many people come out. And there's not really much in the power file for me to show. It was a crit, super spiky, a lot of attacks. Tried to stack a break, and Johnny was the one that got in the one that stuck. So if anybody has questions about that race, feel free to hit me up directly. Espinosa del Diablo was a road race the next day. Yeah, you know what? I screwed up. Got in a break with a big group of people. Yeah, I'm disappointed. Thinking back on it, eventually I was with like Kyle Teasler and a couple Novo guys. Eventually Frank and Johnny Mitchell bridged up to me. We had some discussion online about it. I had made the comment of maybe I shouldn't have worked with those guys. There were a couple people behind us, though, that were also very fast. So it's like, well, I want Patrick in the break with me also to try and stack it. 1 out of 3 was a pretty good odd, and Frank actually had flatted, but the flat never went totally flat. I thought I could maybe get rid of Johnny before the sprint. It was a very rolling course. I guess hindsight's always 20/20. I shouldn't have worked in that, I don't think. And sometimes you think you can win, and I didn't, and I came in third. It's disappointing when you make that screw up because your teammate's back there, and you kind of feel like you let your teammate down. And Patrick and I have a really good relationship of friends and as teammates. We both make mistakes. We both screw up, so we don't really get mad at each other when the other one does. But it happens, and you just sort of feel gutted because you've let your teammate down. But it was an amazing training day. You can see 431 TSS. So I rode more afterwards. I rode about 50 miles after the race, putting in that work, trying to do what other people won't do, and hoping that there's a payoff down the road. The amount of 95% VO2 max is just silly. So it was a really hard race and great training stimulus. Yeah, just tactics. I screwed up the tactics and still uncorked a pretty good sprint at the end, though. Moving forward from there, Patrick and I went away and I did a little blog post on the Chattanooga weekend. It was pretty incredible. It was you can read the blog. I'll post the blog title below. You take an L sometimes, and the one thing that I really learned from this, which I had learned in other training rides, I like to pull the group along when I'm riding with my friends, and I just like burning calories and putting out kilojoules. We measure in megajoules, and I got popped bad on the first climb, and I pulled us for probably we rode an hour and a half to the base of this climb. I probably pulled 90% of the time, and that's just sort of what I do. And halfway up the climb, Patrick pulled through and just took off, and he looked back and slowed down, and I was like, don't slow down. Like, don't feel bad for me. Just drop me. And he just took off, and I think I'll have to look at the blog post, but he did pretty well on the KLM list. And that whole ride, I just got shelled. And it was a good thing to remind myself that if you're working beforehand, you're not going to have peak performance. So save those matches, and that's a foreshadowing to maybe Masters Nationals. Reminding myself to save some matches for what really mattered. But that was an awesome weekend. Check out the blog post. And then headed to Oklahoma and went to the OKC Pro-Am. And I really only got to do one race. I got there Friday. I don't really like racing at night anymore. I've never been a huge fan of it. Just, you go to a crit course and there's always little obstacles that you have to dodge. And dodging them at night with the shadows, I don't really care for. And then when it's a pro race and you're just holding on for dear life, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a big wuss, but I can take shots, call me whatever you want. I just don't care for it. So I didn't do the Friday night race. I wish I could have done Masters, but it's a 40 plus. And I raced on Saturday. Got off the front with Stefan Roach from Elbows. Finally, with about 7 laps to go, 10 laps to go, you know, the Hincappy squad had us in sight. We were hoping somebody would try and bridge up or do something, but they pretty much just got to tow people around and wait until they pounced on us. And we tried to mess with them. We slowed our effort a little bit and thought maybe with 2 laps to go, if we throttle it, we can get them to screw up the timing of the catch. And they caught us with half a lap to go. I think they probably would have wanted to catch us a little earlier, but they went 1-2 and pretty much, yeah, they owned that day. The next day I flatted and I looked down to see if I had a flat. I hit this massive pothole and was sure that I would have flatted, but I thought it was going to be one of those psh, like you flatted. Looked down and it seems okay, so I railed the next right-hand turn. I'm like, cool. Go to rail the next left-hand turn, and all of a sudden you're just like front wheels skating on carbon and concrete and just wiped out. Ironically enough, took out Stefan Roach, who was with me the day before, and that sucked. So my bars were the shifters were all mangled. I've got a flat, skin suit's trashed, and I'm walking over to the pit, and a guy runs over to get my bike, and I'm like, I'm good, you know. I don't know. I'd missed the lap. They'd already gone around almost once. I guess you can wait there and get free laps, plural, but it's just over it. I'm a road racer. I've always preached that. I'd rather road race, and I wish I liked crits more. It's U.S. style racing, but meh. Some more crits. Went to Tulsa. We did the 1-2 race. Yeah, first night. Patrick came in second. Great result. Almost had the win. Learned some life lessons. Moved forward from that. I was trying to bridge up to them so that we could. He was in a break of 4, I believe, and I was thinking, man, if I got up there 2, we'll definitely win because then we can just ping people, do what we do. I just couldn't make it to them, so came in 5th. And Saturday, we really thought that the rubber band would snap at some point, and we were at the front of the race the whole time, and I don't regret how we raced. I mean, we're aggressive. That's just what we do. It's how we race. It's how we win. It works 9 times out of 10 for us. Just in that race, a couple teams wouldn't work with us. Even when we got a little gap, they wouldn't work. And that's fine if that's how you want to race. Maybe you're waiting for the sprint or, you know, you don't think that the person that gets up the road with us can win. That's fine. So we tried to pull it back and wait for the last couple laps, and I started my lead out way too early. You know, it's hard. When you have 2 people, it's hard to communicate. I was thinking, and this is just like as the race is happening, okay, I'm going to make it fast. I look back to make sure Patrick's on my wheel or within a few wheels, and he's like, go. And we're at the start finish with 1 lap to go, and I was thinking, you know, halfway through there's that backside climb. Either he'll take off there, job is done, or, you know, I didn't think I'd be able to stay on the front that long. So I get us there, and some dude starts to come around, but he's not gassing past me. So I hit it and just drive us up over this little, you know, the little riser. You take a left, you're at the top, and you start going downhill. And I was toast. I couldn't, you know, hold on to that. Nothing great to see there. Hey guys, sorry this movie is chopped up a little bit. So I was initially making this part of the Nationals story. So next is going to be a conversation with Patrick about the Cookeville race, and one of the biggest things you need to do after these races is, you know, you can learn a lot from a win, but you can learn way more from a loss. And looking back on it, just discussing, making sure my hindsight was really 2020, and I really felt like I did the wrong thing. And, you know, we discussed whether the cards played were the right ones or the wrong ones, and then you need to remember this. So when you make split-second decisions in the next race, when a similar scenario comes up, you have more information and continue to learn and continue to keep getting better at this sport. So thanks again for watching. Okay, bike cycling fans of the internet, we are back today with a recording about yesterday's race.
Race face weekend.
Race face weekend. We were at the, I was about to say Cookeville, High Roller Crit and the Espinosa del Diablo Devil's Backbone road race. I really more want to talk about the tactics, because I had posted the picture yesterday or this morning of yesterday's podium with Johnny Mitchell and Frank Treviso, who dominated the weekend. And a couple people had questions about what I had said and what did I mean by, I maybe should have sat on later on. And I think the dynamic changes for a lot of people because we're lucky in that we both, we have each other out there, and it's a teammate that I can rely on and really go all in on certain moves, knowing that if I get pulled back and I'm totally gassed, you're going to be there. That allows us to race differently than people who are out there by themselves or who are on a team that reality is you might be the best person and you might be the card that they're playing. You can't fully commit to certain things because if you don't make the break, you got the B-level crew trying to get in the break, and it's it's not a diss. It's just how racing is. That's why
we also have complementary strengths too.
Right.
So no, that's kind of unique there too.
So I was gonna say, and I'll post the clip here of what the picture had said, but really the rundown was, hey, I ended up getting in a break with Frank and Johnny. And for those people that don't know these guys, in the picture I said two of the strongest guys in the country. I mean, if you went to a nationals road race, let's say, and pluck out 150 guys, these are two guys that consistently, Frank's a former pro. Johnny comes in the top 10 in huge races.
Johnny's ranked. He's fourth in the crit series ranking right now.
But don't call these guys just crit riders, right? All arounders that can sprint.
That's a huge mistake.
Yeah. So
Johnny likes to ride up mountains. That's his favorite thing. He lives in Johnson City.
He climbed 1 million feet last year by October or whenever.
Beat me by about 500,000.
Yeah. So my comment that threw some people into confusion, I said, why did I take the chance with these two guys when Wally's behind me? Going 1 versus 1 versus 1 is not a finish that I want to have. And I had thought, Frank had a soft tire, which I thought would eventually go flat, and it would be me versus Johnny at some point. And I think I could create some separation before the final. I wasn't really feeling like I had complete overdrive, where you throttle it and then you just can keep revving it over. But I was wondering, maybe we're all just getting tired from, the road race I can show you. I was just telling Patrick had 19 and a half minutes at 95% VO2 max, 14 and a half at 100%. It's just bonkers. And
yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And when I'm in this group, I thought that we would get pulled back because initially I was with Johnny and Teasler and a couple other guys, and it merged up. And then at some point, Frank came up with a couple people. So I was assuming that the next train would come. The three of us, we weren't going to roll all day because what did we get away at mile 20? 15?
Something like that. Maybe even a little sooner than 20.
Yeah.
Because it took a while. There wasn't another error I think we could have addressed earlier before the races. We didn't know the course super well, and the really heavy hitting part of the course wasn't until mile 30 something. So that's when I got away. I saw an opportunity it was a series of hard climbs, 2 hard climbs and then a false flat drag, and I went behind. I was chasing down 2 little Novo guys that were trying to go, and I saw that everybody was on the run, so okay, I felt safe because you guys had 1.5 minutes at that point. There had already been a big sit-up, and I felt safe to throttle there, and that's when I formed the selection. But we didn't know exactly, maybe I could have been, if we had known that section of the course was coming, we could have maybe formed the break there and both been in straight away. That could be another way we could have changed it up a little bit. But
yeah, we must. So there's Frank's there, Johnny's there, this guy Lachlan Holiday's there. There's the whole Novo. We don't know who's who in there, but a couple good guys that look like from Australia, maybe. Teasler. But what it comes down to is these are all singles, right? We just overlook the fact that there were 2 of us, and
our greatest strength is actually
biggest strength working together. Literally what we preach all the time is teamwork. That's why we've won so many times this year already. It's We need teammates to overpower stronger riders. So what I'm thinking is I get up the road. I'm like, well, this is good. I'm up here with these two guys. We're gonna ride, and we were all taking even pulls. We weren't killing it. Like at points, I was like, we're not going fast enough. And thinking that at some point you guys will come up. You're getting a free ride. So I'm like, great. Whoever does come up at least will be doing all the work. So you'll be freshest out of that group. Hopefully I'm like evenly fresh with these guys, and then we can just barrage it as a team and win this race. So when it went from 2 minutes to 1 minute, the other guys were like, we got to move. So I was pedaling, but we're not, again, like we weren't pressing on like we were getting chased, right? And then it came down, fast forward down the road, probably with 20 miles to go. I'm like, geez, maybe this is going to come down this way. My first error was that I never should have gotten this far down the road with just these two guys. I guess it's, hindsight's always 20/20, but it's hard because you want to test them to know if you can get away, but it's not like I could test them with 50 miles to go. I'm not going to be able to ride away for 50 miles from these guys.
Yeah. Well, and also that point you brought up when we were talking about yesterday is like, you didn't know I was behind, so you can't be like, guys, I have a teammate coming up, sorry, I'm not going to ride.
Right.
And then have me not be there, and then you're that guy that, like, nobody forgets that.
Right.
That's not.
You don't want, and I mean, we want to, because we like to ride. We're aggressive. We're going to ride. We're going to push a brake. About 20 miles to go, I started attacking a few times. Frank was on the ropes at one point, but I was trying to recover from an attack, and I should have just gone again and tried to get rid of him. And I really, though, in the back of my mind, I was like, his tire's going to go completely flat at one point, but this goob, whatever, stopped the flat. He finished the race with 60 PSI. So I think the main thing was, and Johnny had actually commented on the picture saying, his comment was, my honest opinion is it wasn't a bad move for you. I think the mistake that we both made is that we didn't ride hard enough. We both knew Frank was the fastest sprinter, but we could also see he was tired, slow to respond to a few attacks. He had just ridden really hard. Had we just ridden hard the last 60 to 80 minutes, we would have stood a better shot in the sprint. We got complacent with our lead for about an hour and let the pace slow way down, and that's when you guys really started pulling up. I think that
another thing Johnny said after the race, he was like, yeah, Brendan didn't know you were coming. He was like, but I knew you were coming. He's like, I knew you'd be in that group. So Brendan be like, I don't know, I think Patrick's probably coming. And Johnny be like, I don't know, I don't think so. We got to keep riding.
Well, it's hilarious because he was like, you don't know that. And I was like, that's why I keep looking back. Damn, I got played. So here's the thing, though. Funny. If I couldn't see, he knew, like, theoretically. I don't think he could see you, man, because I was looking back there and I could not see through the 6 or 8 people in that group. And that was the thing. I wasn't going to be that guy that's like, no, he's probably there. And then 6 or 8 guys roll up, and now I've got 5 guys who can outsprint me. And now I'm like, that's just dumb. Like, it's not. I have to at least believe that I can try and pull something off in like the last climb, drop people, tire them out on the climb, and then outsprint them. Like figure out a way to win, right? You're not always gonna be able to bank on, oh, my teammate's coming up from behind. And this actually, now that I've verbalized that, it makes me feel a little bit better. Like, I tried to get away, I couldn't get away. I was hoping too that like at some point they would stop chasing together, but it was either Frank was chasing me down and Johnny was behind him, or Johnny would chase me down and Frank was behind him. And I was like, God, I can't get away from both of these.
The 1v1 disadvantage.
I can't get away from them.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing, like, coupled with the fact that you can't blame the course. Like, the course, there were enough, like, 1-2 minute sections. You can't get that split. And then if there's a downhill, it was just too fast to, like, stay away. And I just didn't
kind of like the problem we had at Hell to South, too, where you're trying to ditch Frank. Like, make it hard on the hill, and he just get back. He knows how to race his race, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of experience.
I think I just got outsmarted, outplayed a little bit. Just, you have to be super confident, like, that you can somehow figure out a way to win. And my best card I never played was just waiting and having you come up. And we were the best team, even though it's just 2 people. Even if we brought up more people, let's take the chance of a reshuffle where it's like us and one other person gets away, or us and someone worse than Frank or Johnny, or. So I'm just like, kicking myself over this. But like you said, I'm glad that we're that we can have this conversation, being like we could have figured out a way to win. It was a brain problem if the legs, aren't gonna. If you're racing with people of equal or better talent, you need to figure something out. And that's the tricky thing about bike racing. It's got to be on the fly, and it's got to be with some unknowns. And I'm kicking myself for not sitting on.
In hindsight.
See, I'm kicking myself for not sitting on. But here's the thing, too. You got to race with these people again, right? And just like you said, you don't want to be the dude who it's like, I'm done riding, and then no one, and then like you maybe had flatted, and like everyone else shows up, and it's like, wow, Brendan, like good job. What are you thinking? It's at Espinosa del Diablo and not Nationals or something. But you got to go race to learn these lessons. And for everybody that we coach out there, it's like 10 years in and still learning and still having like for an hour we talked about this of like what did we do wrong? How could we have done this better? And I think we figured it out. You remember what our strength was. Don't play into someone else's game. And hey, had I won, it would be, it would be a different conversation. Yeah. But
all right, man. Good stuff.
Good chat.
All right.
Bye.
Later.